Welcome everybody to Global Hack Week API Week Day 5. Welcome to my session. This is AI meets OpenAPI. If you have just come from my last session, Intro to OpenAPI, please drop a message in the chat. I would love to see you. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about OpenAPI. What are some practical use cases and how you can use AI with OpenAPI effectively and efficiently. And we have a lot of you coming over from the last streams, so thank you so much for coming back, tuning in. And just let me know how the audio is. Is the music too loud? Is it just right? Let me know and I can adjust. With that, just right. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for letting me know. My name is Wei, a coach here at Major League Hacking. My favorite programming languages are JavaScript and TypeScript, but I'm stepping out of my comfort zone today, and I'm working in Python. A fun fact about me is I just got back from Hack UMass, which marks my 30th hackathon as an MLH coach. Super stoked about it. I have 2 more to go. I'm going to University of Rochester next week, and actually this weekend, and Western University in Ontario, London, Ontario, in Canada next weekend. So I just saw somebody from Detroit. Maybe you want to come to London, attend Hack Western. It would be amazing. Hope to see you there if you can make it. It is so fun. I'm super, super into hackathons, and I love meeting new hackers. Now, if you haven't checked in already, please be sure to check in at this link below. I'm going to move my banner, change my banner a little bit into ask me anything in chat. So throughout this workshop or this stream, if you have any questions whatsoever, or if you just want to chime in, please do so. It makes a more engaging and fun workshop for everybody. Okay, and let me just go ahead and check in now. So this is the Global Hack Week schedule. If you haven't already seen, we are on day 5, and we just wrapped up our Today in Global Hack Week day 5 with our amazing coach Larshini. And right now we are at this workshop, AI meets OpenAPI. So I'm going to have my AI check into this workshop for me once again. I've already done it the last one, so might as well just do this one as well. So please check into this event for me, and I will use Haiku 4.5 since we talked about how that's a pretty cool event. Actually, I'll have to tell it to use Chrome DevTools MCP. If you don't know what that is, definitely check it out. I had a 3-part series on MCP servers from the last workshop, from the last Global Hack Week. So right now it is actually going to the new page. Okay, I'm going to close the browser and just start it again because I think it was cached from the last one. Wonderful. Please check into the event for me. I'm sure all of you are quicker at checking in than our Haiku here, but it's still fun to see. So I will allow taking a snapshot. Going to look for the register and check-in button, and it just clicked it. So I am now fully checked into the event. So be sure to check into the event. Make sure you get your Global Hack Week points for coming and attending. We'll also be running a surprise prize at the end of the session, so stay tuned for that. Excellent. So let's talk about what we're learning today. This is a recap of the last session. Feel free to watch the recording. We talked about what an API was. We talked about what is the OpenAPI specification, why is it useful, some examples of OpenAPI-compatible API, and how we could use OpenAPI using a open source tool called Bruno. And you could also use Postman, Insomnia, and other open source tools. And lastly, we learned about how to make our API OpenAPI compatible so anyone in the world can access it without any issues. We're also going to be generating, we also did generate some beautiful OpenAPI documentation, making sure everything is updated with the title, description, as well as the signature schema of every endpoint. So during this session, we're going to build a new trivia API, which we kind of took part in already. We're halfway there. We defined all the spec, and we just generated all the tasks necessary for the app. So for those of you who are just joining us, I'm going to do a very quick walkthrough of what we're building and what the AI is doing for us. And we're also going to be creating a OpenAPI MCP server. And lastly, we're going to create the trivia app, like the front-end app, using the APIs that we have created. And lastly, number 4, if time permits, we're going to create an AI bot to actually answer the trivia questions for us using OpenAPI MCP. Cool. So let's head over back to my other screen here. You can see this is the app that we have worked on in the last session. We have used GitHub Spec Kit, which is a toolkit to help with spec-driven development. We ran a few different commands already. We installed the specified CLI, initiated a project. We created a constitution of our application, and we started by creating a spec of our feature, the Trivia API feature. We then ran spec kit plan to come up with a full plan of this technical implementation. This includes things like data models, folder structure, technology selection, and all the details that the AI would need to know to implement this project. And then just before we ended, we ran spec kit tasks to break the technical implementation plans into steps so that we can complete them one at a time instead of trying to bite all of it at once for the best results. So let's take a quick look here. For those of you who are just joining us, let's go to the spec doc. This is probably the best doc for us to kind of give a quick overview of what we're doing. We're building a trivia API. This was my original description, and essentially this is going to be an API where users can answer trivia questions and get points. There will also be a leaderboard as well as a admin's endpoint to start a trivia session with a question and answer. It has really fleshed out all the different details that we'll need, all the different user scenarios, API flows, user stories, and all that. And most recently, it has created a tasks.md file. So if we just scroll to the top, you can see there are a total of, there's quite a few tasks. So it might take a little bit of time to complete all of them. But a lot of them can be completed in parallel. And here are some of the main phases of the application. So here is the task dependencies and all the different things that was generated for our AI to implement. With that, I'm just gonna go ahead and start with implementation. There was one detail I wanted to change real quick though. I was reading through, which is I want the post API trivia session end endpoint to include successful attempts. So that when we retrieve like the trivia sessions, we know who answered the question successfully. Drop the GitHub link. I will drop the GitHub link after the task implementation, and then we'll actually deploy it so that everyone can use it live. Does that sound good? All right, excellent. Okay, so this is making all the necessary changes to implement, to fix the tasks, as well as, yeah, here it goes. So it's going to also include successful attempts. Okay, wonderful. So that is all done. Now we can start with our implementation. Before then, let me keep all the changes and commit them. Done. Okay, I think that's it. This is the moment that we're waiting for. I'm going to click specify kit tasks and click go. Sorry, I already did that. So I'm going to do specify implement and click go. So this is going to implement all the features that we have talked about. Okay, perfect. While we wait, well, let's take a look here first. There are 13 total main tasks. And it has completed a few different steps. It's now going to step 4. So these are the different phases. Okay, so this is going through some checklists internal to SpecKit to identify like what are some of the things that we definitely need before we start implementation. And now it's beginning the phase 1 implementation. You can see it just created all the necessary folder structure and starting to create different files, right? Okay, it's now creating a init.py. The nice thing about doing it this way using SpecKit is that with the SpecKit, the AI agent can read all the different tasks here, and you can actually assign out the tasks to different AI agents or even sub-agents if you're okay with using some of the other tools out there, and really complete all these tasks simultaneously, and it's much more effective and efficient. It will also not lose sight of some of our requirements. So it's now creating the authentication, which is going to be checking the API key we talked about in the header in the .env. Timestamps for converting the, you can see these files utilities are very, very useful, and they can be easily unit tested if needed. So this is normalizing answer to make sure they are lowercase, checking the case insensitive answer, and also checking if answers match. And we can look at the configuration settings. This has information about the location of the database, log level, and admin keys as well. So the database file contains things like initializing the database and returning an instance of the database. Errors.py contain all the different possible errors that will be thrown to the user, and they're very, very informative, like admin access required with a 403 forbidden, status code, duplicate answers if you already answered the question successfully. So a question in the chat, like if someone answers the question incorrectly, should they be able to keep answering until it's correct? Or should they, lose the turn if it's incorrect? Let me take a look and see how our spec defined it. Check spec. Where's the arrow? Something's wrong with the arrow. Check. And determine if a user answers a trivia question incorrectly, can they answer again? So I'm using Gemini command line now, since Copilot is working its magic to implement the application. Oh, did it not work? Let's try again. Okay, it's reading all the files. Python is also running right now. Oh, I'm using a very old version of Gemini CLI, as you can see here, which is probably not a good idea. I should upgrade it later. And in the meantime, it looks like this terminal is kind of stuck. This Python 3 script is stuck. Okay, so we got some answers from Gemini in the meantime. So user cannot answer a trivia question again, even if they answered incorrectly. Okay, so it sounds like every user only has one shot at answering, which makes it a little bit more competitive, of course. User cannot answer the same question twice. Yep, that looks good. Okay, looks like this script was stuck though, so I'm going to stop it and then just say continue. By the way, has anyone used UV before? Is that better than pip? Okay. Never used. Neither have I. Neither have I. Yes, UV is generally considered a better pip for performance-related tasks. Yeah, that probably sounds about right. And I heard with UV, you also get a virtual environment automatically. Like you don't have to manually create a virtual environment. But I'll have to try that later. Thank you for sharing. I wonder what Python version. Maybe I'm on an older Python version. That's probably the reason of some of these issues that we're seeing. But it looks like AI is able to look through and fix it very easily. By the way, what Python 3 version are you guys on? I'm on 3.9. That's pretty old, right? I should probably upgrade this. Yeah, 3.13 sounds about right. Okay, well, it fixed the types, so I think we're good. When learning Python, is it best to start with the oldest version? I don't think so. I think you should start with the latest version. There are some projects that do not support newer Python versions. I see. That's a bummer. So we got 3.11 in the crowd as well. Okay, I wonder if it has already completed all the tasks that we needed to do. Let's see. Okay. All right, I wonder if it's all working. Haiku tells me everything's working. Everything is working. Let's check the tasks here. It hasn't marked off any tasks yet, so I think it's waiting to do that. So I think one of you in the last session said Claude Haiku 4.5 has a giant context window, right? How does it compare to Gemini? I'm just curious. Okay, so now it's creating, it created a README. Let's check the README. README, perfect. And here's the source code. Here's the APIs, models, schemas, services, different services. That's pretty cool. Submit answer, validators. Has anyone used this? How do you even say this? Alembic? Seems like related to SQL Alchemy. Oh, I see. So it's used with SQL Alchemy database toolkit for Python. Wonderful. And then the EMV has my super secret admin key, database configuration, and some of the other settings. The nice thing about Haiku is it even gave me a very, very neat README right here. So you can see all the different features for our application, the prerequisites, required packages, how to set up the application, and examples of all the different endpoints. But we really don't need a lot of this because they'll be available in the OpenAPI page. Is that even mentioned here? It should be. Yep, right here, OpenAPI, as well as the interactive documentation sites. So we'll check it out right after. Super secret keys, yes. Now let's look at the tasks and see how much it has completed. So you can see a lot of things have been checked off. Complete, manual verification, complete. I think all the features are done for the most part. That was fast. Okay, I'm going to stage everything real quick. And I'm going to okay. I'm going to stage all the changes and just push to a GitHub repo so everyone can use it afterwards. So in the meantime, it looks like Haiku is summarizing the conversation history. But I can try to run this app just to see if it works, right? I will open up a new terminal window and go to README and take a look at how to run the app. So to initialize the database, tables for migrations, running the server right here. Okay, application setup complete. It's running. Let's now go to our Google Chrome, localhost 8000 slash docs, right? Excellent. So you can see here, now we have a fully featured Trivia API, OpenAPI documentation page. It comes with a health check, and we can even try it out just like this, execute, and healthy. You can see the response from the server, healthy Trivia API. And we can try to start a session, and it tells you to supply a API key, execute. Without the API key, we're getting an error, 403 admin access required, which is pretty cool. And if we put in our API key here, your super secret admin key here, we should be able to execute and get success. Trivia session started. Now, if I'm a user, I can then retrieve the question, retrieve the current active trivia question, try out, and hit execute. You can see here's the current question. It's all working great. I also want to show you another version, which is called the redoc. If you look at our README here, right? If we look at the README here, you'll see Swagger UI. You can also call it OpenAPI UI, which is the /docs we just visited. You can also look at the redoc alternative UI, and it's some prettier UI in my opinion. So we can take a look together if it works. Yeah, so it looks like the redoc file is not found. We might need to fix it later. So in the meantime, we won't worry about that. But if you're interested in redoc, Swagger, redoc, it's an open source project. And it looks something like this. It looks something like this. And I can actually like copy this URL. I don't know if it will work directly. Yeah, it doesn't work because it's localhost. I will download this file though, and then you'll see it work. So I will, how do I download this? Save as API.json, and then upload, download OpenAPI.json. Try it. Oh, because it's trying to load it in the public upload. Okay, you can see it worked now. We can upload a OpenAPI JSON, and this is a much better UI in my opinion. but it's essentially the same thing as the Swagger UI, they call it. Okay, and now that we have our application working and running locally, let me go ahead and deploy it to the cloud. So first of all, I'm just going to commit, and I'm actually going to our main branch, and I'm going to merge this in. So git merge, git status, git branch, git merge 001 trivia API, and then we're going to publish. So we're going to create a new public repository so everyone can access it called GHW trivia. And I can open it up on GitHub in case anyone wants to take a look. And from here, I'm actually going to create a new server. So there are many different services in the cloud that lets you deploy a server. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to use Vultr. Vultr is a cloud computing platform that lets you deploy all kinds of things from virtual private servers to cloud storage, Kubernetes, containers, databases, and so much more. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to deploy a server, and I will select shared CPU for the just in the interest of cost. And what's the best location here to select? Let me think. So we have people calling in from all over the world. I'm thinking Los Angeles is probably a good option. That's kind of close to in the midpoint of everybody who's calling in on this call today. Maybe we'll do Los Angeles. And I will select a server. This one should be plenty. I'll just do this one, the default. I will disable automatic backup because it costs money. And yeah. Now go to next. What's everybody's favorite operating system, by the way? Do you have one? We have a lot of choices here. My go-to is usually Ubuntu. But has anyone used anything else that might be better? Debian? Debian is pretty good. I haven't used Debian. I mean, I know Ubuntu is based on Debian, but I haven't used Debian recently. So why don't we just do that? Thank you for your suggestion here. We will start up a Debian server, Debian 13, and SSH keys. So I wonder if I can just do it without a key for now. No, I need a key. I think I need a key. So let's see. If you haven't installed an SSH key before, there are some great guides out there. I'm just going to open up my terminal, cd, and let's see. Okay, I don't have a key yet, so I can do SSH keygen. I think I can just run that. Boom, boom, boom. And now I have a key. So if I do ls now, I should have a key. So I can just print out the public key. And this is now my public key on my account. And I can go to, I might have to go back to my account and add this key. So SSH keys, add SSH key. Way demo, boom, add. Okay, perfect, way demo. Now if we go back here, I might have to refresh. I have to redo this thing. So Los Angeles, I'll just go with the shared CPU for now. Disable automatic backups. It's a good reminder of what we did earlier. And I think this will work just fine. $10 a month plan, but even the $5 I think should work plenty. I'll use $10 for now. Debian, 13. SSH keys, wait demo. Host name, we'll say GHW trivia. And we'll get an IP address. That sounds perfect. And deploy. Request failed with status code 500. That is not what I'm expecting. So let's check what there's the deal with that. 500 error. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. So let's try to deploy a different server then. Oh, shoot. I just deployed 3 servers. Wonderful. So let's wait for them to spin up and delete 2 of them. Should be pretty quick. The subscription is not yet active. Has anyone used a cloud virtual private server provider before? Let me know in chat. Like, what are some of your go-to providers for hosting? And if this doesn't work, it's a-okay because we can also use a different provider. So Upside TV says, I've only used AWS and Google. Yeah, they have very good servers for sure. DigitalOcean, AWS, GCP, Linode, Hostinger, etc. Well, that is a lot. I know Alberto was showing an article from Hostinger yesterday on hosting SMTP servers. And I have actually used DigitalOcean as well. So if I think there's a temporary issue with Vultr, then we can just kind of, maybe I can pivot and then try something else, right? That's what we do as hackers. Stop. Yeah, I think there's some issues here. So I'll deploy one more time, and if it doesn't work, we'll switch to something else. Maybe I'll try dedicated CPU this time, just for funsies. Disable automatic backups for now. It could also be Los Angeles is having an issue, but maybe I can try. New York is always a safe bet. Like that's like usually one of the biggest. Silicon Valley. Let's try Silicon Valley. San Jose. So I'll do this plan for now. Configure. And we will try Debian 13. Wait demo. Before I actually run, I want to just double check and see if my other machines are still installing or if they're done. Yeah, I think they're stuck. So we'll keep going. GHW trivia and deploy. If this gives me a 500, then I will pivot to a different. Yep, give me a 500. So let's go ahead and use DigitalOcean. So DigitalOcean, AWS, GCP, Linode, Hostinger. I have a DigitalOcean account, so let's just use DigitalOcean. Let me sign up. DigitalOcean. I'm showing you how to actually deploy this application in the cloud so that anyone else can use it. I'm logging into the DigitalOcean account and I will create. Okay, playground, perfect. Here is the DigitalOcean dashboard, very similar to Vultr. Both of them are MLH partners right now. So I'm going to Droplets. Droplets is essentially the same thing as Vultre's compute. You can see all of them are just stuck in installing right now. That's A-OK. I'm going to just do it in DigitalOcean, San Francisco. That sounds good. And I will pick Debian 13, similar to the previous one. I think the regular $4 a month, $6 a month should work just fine. We'll do 1 CPU. Maybe we'll do 2 CPUs for the demos. Makes it a little faster. And then we're going to add a key, new SSH key. So this is where there are some great instructions here on how to generate the key. So I already have my key, so I can just copy it from here. Boom. Way demo. And I can name it GHW Trivia. Project, I'll put it in Playground. Create droplet. Excellent. So I definitely need to figure out what the deal is with Vultr and get these removed. Otherwise, they might start billing me. Okay, in just a few seconds, you can see we have successfully spun up a virtual private server on DigitalOcean. And it is in San Francisco, Debian 13, 2 GB of RAM, 2 CPUs, and I can copy the IPv4 URL. I can also access it directly. So I can do launch console, and then I'll be able to access the machine directly here. But I want to show you something, which is in Visual Studio Code. If you don't already know this, I'm going to open a new Visual Studio Code window. I'm going to click Connect to SSH. It's going to install the remote SSH extension here. And let's do it one more time. Connect to host. Connect current window to host. And I can do something like SSH root and paste in the IP address. Root is the default admin, super admin username in Debian. And I'm going to click connect. So now you can see it is connecting. We're going to continue, click continue, and permission denied. Public key. Close remote. So that's no good. Let's try to connect it manually. Sometimes they have a different, so it works manually. Something's wrong, so let's try it one more time. Let's go to the SSH connection here, and then start off with the connection, SSH root. And we can do MLH SSH config, host added, and then connect. All right, perfect. I think it worked. Okay, so I'm gonna actually remove the banner. Actually, I'll just bring this window up a little bit. So this is the new VS Code window. You'll notice the color of the bottom bar is a little bit different. We have a green SSH with the IP address on the bottom left and the purple bar. So this tells us we now have a VS Code window that is running over SSH on the machine, on the virtual private server. So I can actually see we are now on the GHW Trivia virtual private server on DigitalOcean. They call it Droplet. And we can see, do we have Git installed? We don't have Git installed. So let's go ahead and install Git. In Debian, there are a few different ways to install Git. I'm going to actually let AI help us, all right? So we'll say install Git. and clone this new repo that we created, which is right here. Install Git and clone this. I'm using the Grok Code Fast 1 model. You can use any model you want, and this is using GitHub Copilot, right? So I will go ahead and do that. Clone Git, install Git, and clone this. All right, it's going to run a bash command, and Git is not found. Now it's running the apt get update, apt get install to install the Git command line tool. And now it has just cloned it. Perfect. I can then open a folder. I can say open the GHW trivia folder, and this will open this up in this window. I will trust the authors so that I can run scripts and everything in here since I wrote it myself. Okay, wonderful. What else can we do? I think the first thing we would need to do here is to spin up our application, right? We have an open source application now. Let's see how we can start it up. And as you can see, there are some very informative steps here that we need to take to install and spin up the application. I will actually create the .env file. I can do this, copy .env, .example.env. I think that is a required step. And I will fill in the admin secret key so that we don't get that exposed. But feel free to do it yourself. I mean, it's fine. It actually doesn't matter that much just for the demo. But I can, of course, like follow the steps in README and get everything installed. But I'm just going to ask our trusted Copilot to do it for us. Follow steps in README. README to set up and start the application. We're almost there. This is the last step to spin up the application. So this is looking at our README file, the project setup file, setup section. It's running all the Python commands. Looks like it's installing some additional packages necessary to spin up our application, to install all our dependencies. I wonder what Python version this is. Let's see. So this is 3.13. I wonder if the previous syntax is going to work here. It's installing and building Pydantic core. We can also look at our Linux, Debian. So it is indeed a Debian server that we have here. While we wait for that, has anyone used a DNS, like DuckDNS service before, like DuckDNS? I'm going to sign with Google. Okay, and then the goal for the DuckDNS is it's going to provide us with a very nice domain name. I can do GHW trivia, add domain, and put my IP address here like this. So we can then use this to access our newly created server. Okay, Python 3, Python 13. There are still some errors, looks like. Pydantic having trouble installing. So it is now updating some of these requirements to see if we can get the latest versions installed. Okay, excellent. Allow. It's now running the SQL migrations. And then here's the last step. It is actually running the application, as you can see here. Okay, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Let's go head over to our new domain name /docs. And that's a no-go. 8,000, port 8,000. So let's do that. Port 8,000, docs. Yay! Finally. So our trivia application API is now running on port 8000 of ghwtrivia.duckdns.org. And we can actually try the health check endpoint by clicking try it out and click execute. And we can see the API is now up, live, and healthy. Now, I'm going to send this URL to everybody so you can add it to your personal client like Bruno. And we're going to answer a trivia question together. Let's see if anyone can get this. All right. So I will go back to my Bruno. You can use Postman or anything else, or even curl if you want to. Import collection. And I'm going to do this. Import, and I will say GHW trivia API, open, import, and just like that, we have all the different available endpoints added to our Bruno collection as well. So we can try the health check, run. So as we've seen, like we have to add some variables. So this includes the base URL, and we can grab the base URL right here. And that should be it for public. 1 second, we can't have a trailing slash, so I'm going to remove that. So this is the base URL, and then the I think API key, right? Session management, start session needs an API key of some sort. Headers, X API key. So I'm going to create a new variable called admin key. And we'll just use that for these 2 sessions. You don't have to do this. Only admin like me will need to do this, right? Otherwise, it's not going to authenticate you. And in the meantime, I will quickly add my API key. Okay, wonderful. Now, you can either use a client like Bruno or use our doc page directly. So you can scroll down. So first, I'm going to start a session. So I'm going to first start a session. I'm going to session management, start session. So here, I'm going to ask the question. What does GHW stand for? Correct answer, of course, everybody knows it's going to be Global Hack Week, right? So I will hit submit. Looks like the base URL is not set up yet correctly, so I'll try it one more time. Base URL. Okay, perfect. It is now set up correctly. But I will hit send. And just like that, a new session has started. Now, everyone, if you want to take a shot at answering this question, head over to, first you can do questions, head to this URL, the docs URL, which I showed earlier. Remember, the number 1 on the leaderboard will win surprise prize. So let's see who can get number 1. So first of all, the first step is go to questions, and you're gonna click try it out and click execute. And you'll see the current question. What does GHW stand for? This is our first endpoint. We can also do it in Bruno. This makes it so much easier. Questions, get question, and click go. What does GHW stand for? You can then go to answer this answer, submit your answer. So here I'm going to say Global Hack Week, and I'm going to put Way Codes as my username, and I'm going to click execute. And just like that, it tells me correct. It's correct. And now I can also do the same here in Bruno. Submit answer, username, Way not codes. And answer is, I don't know. If I put that in, I'm going to get incorrect as the response. I can also check attempt history. So this is checking everybody's attempts. So as we can see here, we have a few different attempts here. Way codes, Little Sulfur got it correct. So you can't see the answer, but you can see all the different available attempts out there for this question. We can also look at the leaderboard now, like that. Way codes is currently ranked 1, and we have the second place here as well. So just like that, we have created a fully functional trivia API. I can also end the session. Does anybody need a little bit more time? Let me know in chat if you need a little bit more time. But otherwise, I can end the session and actually create a UI for it so that everybody can interact with it from a website. So we can do that too. All right, if everyone's okay with it, I'm just going to end it for now. Okay, I'm going to end it for now. And you can see here, we got 2 successful attempts by Way Codes and Little Sulfur. Excellent. So you may be asking like, okay, wow, this is wonderful, but what a pain. Like, why are there so many steps? Yay, Congrats on being answering the trivia question successfully. But yeah, you may be asking, wow, like there are just so many steps. Like, why would anyone want to do this, right? Like, there's so many things going on this page. This is not very user-friendly to answer a trivia question. Same with the Bruno. Like you may be saying, okay, what is this? What is all this? Like, I'd see these are cool endpoints. Like, so confusing. So remember, this is for developers. This makes it super easy for developers to explore and identify all the available endpoints out there, right? All the available endpoints, so that they can create an awesome application with it, right? It doesn't have to look like this. You're not going to send this to the end user to answer a trivia question, right? So I want to show you something else. So now we have the backend pretty much done. I'm going to also save the requirements.txt. I have to configure the Git real quick before I can commit. Git user.name. Config global user.name way user.email. Now I can commit and push. All right, so we have a fully functional backend. Now we want to create a trivia API front end, right? So we can create a new folder and just say, I should probably rename this project GHW Trivia API. And then we're going to create a new folder called GHW Trivia front end and open it. Not the right directory. Oh, GHW Trivia front end. Trust. Then we can install a MCP server. So this is actually very, very powerful because we can convert OpenAPI MCP to an MCP server. So there are a couple different options here that we can choose from. We can convert an OpenAPI specification to MCP server directly, which is really, really cool. And I will show you what that means afterwards. But AWS Labs. Okay, we can do something like this. So I think there might be an easier way to do this. So let me just keep looking. MCP OpenAPI and exposing OpenAPI. Yep, so this is OpenAPI, converting it to MCP. Okay. There are a few different projects here. API, MCP. Looks like they have changed the ownership, right? enter any OpenAPI URL or domain. Okay, great. So let's try that. We'll open up or copy our OpenAPI JSON here and put it in here. Load. Okay. Tokens. My internet is a little bit slow, looks like. We can just use this one from Amazon Web Services. I think it's pretty useful. I'm going to install it. Show configuration. Yep, we got it right here. And we're going to rename it to Trivia App API MCP server. I'm going to pop this into, actually I need to delete it real quick. Yep, perfect. Saved. All right. So I will add an MCP server here. What's the format? I should know the format. VS Code. Yeah, great job on that, answering that question. Don't worry, we have more opportunity of trivia questions soon. Add MCP server. So this is an example. So we'll add it here. Servers, like that, and paste it in. And what we're gonna do is we'll call it Trivia API, and then put the correct URLs here. Okay, I think that's it. So we're gonna start the server. See what happens. Output. Did I click start? I think I did. Oh, save. I didn't save. Looks like the connection to the VS Code server on the remote server was disconnected. Offline. Let me do a reload. Let me save this file and just do a reload window. Yeah, so this is the script that we ran to turn on our application. Just shut this down, start over. Start over. Code. Open the front end. We can also try to SSH directly. Let's see if it works. I don't have that IP address here, so. Did something happen to my server though? Let's see. You can see the server is still running just fine. Connection timed out. Well, we don't have to run that. We don't have to build the front end on the server itself. So why don't we just spin up? Our doc should no longer be up, I don't think. Okay, it looks like our droplet is not responding. That's why. So I'm just gonna reboot it, and then we should be good. Off. It's turning off. Has anyone had issues with DigitalOcean recently? Looks like Vultr and DigitalOcean are having the issues at the same time on the same day, which is crazy. Oh, it looks like all my servers are now running. Wonderful. So destroy. And just destroy. They were probably just having a slight backlog over there at Vultr. Okay. For now, I'm just going to open up a new local folder, and we can create a new project called Trivia, GHW Trivia Frontend. Boom. And for this one, I'm going to pull the OpenAPI, copy. This is a definition. Since I think my local version is down right now, since I haven't started it, I can start with my local version for now. We'll have trivia. I will spin it up. This is now loading locally. Perfect. And then we can try out Amazon's MCP server right here, right? So let's do it. There was a button to add to Visual Studio Code. Let's just do that. Install. And we'll actually install it locally on my computer in the front-end project, VS Code, mcp.json. Let's try this one more time. Servers. And and we'll call it Trivia API MCP server. Okay, let's see if the server is still restarting. Yeah, so something's wrong with this server, unfortunately. GHW trivia. So that's not going to like to work for now. I'll just do it again in Vultr. We don't have to use it. I'll just kind of spin one up anyways, just in case we decide to use it. And disable, configure, Debian 13. Okay, 500, but it's still going to be spinning up, I think. Okay, it's off finally. So let's turn this back on from DigitalOcean. And in the meantime, we can configure our MCP server here. So we will say something like Trivia MCP. And we'll grab the URL from before. I'm hoping it would just come back on after where'd it go? So many tabs. GHW trivia, yeah, here it is. And then it's OpenAPI.json. Trivia 48,000. Okay. And the server is up. Let's connect to it one more time. GHW trivia. Okay, perfect. And then we will rerun this. We'll actually run it in the background. Okay, perfect. So now if we refresh, everything should come back. Close some tabs here. Box, yep, it's back. All right. I'm now going to start the Trivia API MCP server. Looks like it's up. And I can then test it out. So MCP is one of the many different ways you can connect to any OpenAPI specification. So in this case, you can see we have 7 different tools available and 7 different prompts available. So we can ask, perform a health check on my Trivia API. Trivia API, and I'll use Grok for this one. So it's going to run the health check, health get Trivia MCP server. And just like that, successful. The service is healthy. That's pretty cool. So now let me post a new question. All right, I don't know if you are ready. I'm going to post a new question. What's a good question? What is the best specification? I don't know if AI will get this one, so I just posted the question, everybody. So see if you can answer it. I'm going to ask AI to do it. Let's see who's faster. I will say, use the trivia API, MCP server, get the question, and answer it. My username is waycodes. Okay, so you can see the MCP server get question is getting called. And if we look here, it actually got a question and it's now going to submit the answer for me. Wonderful. So you can see behind the scenes, AI, we just connected OpenAPI with AI through the use of MCP server. It has access to the API get trivia question, get what is the best specification for defining and documenting APIs. And then the AI is able to figure out the answer, and they submitted the answer on behalf of my user, waycodes. So in literally like half a second, it figured out the answer and submitted it correctly. I can then say, check the leaderboard. Who else got this question correct? Actually, I'll just check the leaderboard. Now it knows like our OpenAPI has access to the leaderboard API endpoint, and we now have both Wei and Little Sulfur at 2 points. And we can say who else got this question correct, and it's going to find the get all attempts API, and you can see Little Sulfur got this correct, which is the most recent answer. Great job. And yeah, it's pretty cool, right? We can then build a full-fledged AI agent to do this workflow if we wanted to. But here you can see through the use of MCP server, we just connected it with the DuckDNS with our OpenAI, OpenAPI.json, and it's able to identify all the available endpoints, when to use them, how to use them, and the AI is able to answer the question immediately. So next, I wanted to show now, if you're a developer, you're building an application, for example, a trivia app, you want to build it with the trivia API, right? How can we build it so that we have a UI for this app? And there are many ways to do it. I'm just going to put in an OpenAPI.json. So this is the JSON for our OpenAPI. And then I can say something like, I could use SpecKit, but I feel like that's gonna, take a little bit more time than I'd like. I'm just gonna do it directly here. Create a front-end app, that trivia app that interacts with our trivia API at trivia API OpenAPI.json. The endpoint is available at here. Where is it? Here. And then I'm going to just grab a description of it. And see what Haiku does. This is a very minimal app. Users should be able to see and answer trivia questions. Leaderboard should be shown. What are some other features you'd like to see in the app? When some leaderboard should be shown and refreshed. If a new score is achieved, show confetti. Anything else you'd like to see here? Answer trivia questions. Add any other features as appropriate. Appropriate. Okay. Go. So it's actually going to build a full stack application using React, Vite, TypeScript, and Tailwind. I think Haiku probably has that pre-built into its system prompt when anyone wants to create a front-end application. If there are no pre-existing technologies, it will fall back to using React, Vite, TypeScript, and Tailwind, which is pretty good choice in my opinion. Okay, you can see it has created package.json for all of the packages and some files for setting up Tailwind, Vite, and some of the source files. It's created a API client to interact with our API. From the OpenAPI specification, it's able to generate all the necessary interfaces to be used on the front end. You can see the session start, response request, question models, answers, attempts, and so much more, right? Even has like get leaderboard, start session, basically every single endpoint has been created based on the OpenAPI specification. Just shows you like the interoperability nature of OpenAPI. It is language and platform agnostic. We created OpenAPI initially using FastAPI in Python. Now we're able to use it directly in a JavaScript project. We created all the necessary models and files from the OpenAPI.json. So you can see some new components have been created, the admin panel, their leaderboard, the question card, and username input. In the meantime, maybe I will terminate the session, the last session, so we can start a new one when we're ready. And here's the current leaderboard. All right, it also created a README file, which is pretty cool. Real-time question display, answer submissions, live leaderboard, confetti animation, which I asked for, user management, admin panel, responsive design, auto polling. So those sound like amazing features for this application. Install. Looks like it's having some trouble with the confetti, which, yeah, it's going to use a simple CSS JavaScript animation confetti instead of using the package that didn't work, which is A-OK. Something else I can do is, oh, okay, looks like everything built. So let's check this out first. We can run npm run dev now. Open it up. Okay. I can do something like wait code, start playing, loading question. There's currently no question. So I'm going to send the question. Start session. Okay, I have just sent a question. Let's refresh. Course error. Okay. So there are some issues with this application, right? Because of course, this is a classic issue that everyone will face when running an application on different domains and different ports. Make sure enable course from anywhere. Cannot assist with that. What do you mean? Enable course. Enable course in the application. I should not use auto mode, actually. I should use haiku. I forgot. Okay, we have course middleware added. It's not enabled. Great. So let's run this server one more time and refresh. Oh, this is the wrong window I did it in. So I need to do it here. This is where I need to do it. So enable course, where was it? I can actually just commit and push, and then we can pull it. It's perfect. So this is my local, that's what happened. Feature enable course, commit, push. Okay, fix the merge conflict, rebase, okay, push. Okay, perfect. I'm going to close my localhost window to not confuse myself. And I'm going to do a pull, git pull, and run the application. And now if I refresh, it works. Wonderful. That's pretty cool. Now I can answer a question. What is the first name of MLH's 2026 season mascot? Let's see if Little Sulfur can answer this correctly. Let's look at the leaderboard. Where's the leaderboard? Oh, we can even start the session here. That's pretty cool. Make sure admin can. So the one change I will make is make sure the admin can end the session as well, right? Sure. When a session is in progress, admin can end the session from the front end. So this is the admin panel. End session button. Okay, it already has it. Oh, end session. I didn't even see that. That's pretty cool. Admin API key. Wow, that's wonderful. I'm going to click end session. And if we look at API, oh, I turned off the app earlier. So I will start up the app. Wait codes. No session right now. So let's just revert this. Actually, I think it was fine. Revert this. I'll the latest change. What happened to my headphones? 1 second. Okay, let me know if you can hear me still. Latest change and always show end session button. I'm going to initialize our repository here. And commit and push this app. Push to GitHub. Wonderful. Now we have the front-end application as well. We're gonna go to our SSH here, open up a new window. Front-end. I'll just remove this for now. Remove. Git clone. Code. Oh, okay, it's in. And then I think I need to install Node. So install, and let me also remove the MCP server for now. Install this app, install and run this app. It's looking through all the necessary commands. You can see npm is not found, so it's actually going to install npm now for our Debian instance. Actually, did I just close the other thing here? Let me see what are the changes, if I wanted to keep them or not. Okay, yeah, so these things I can kind of yeah, this is fine. Fix, yeah. Push, and going back to our server, we can pull. Okay, perfect. Continue waiting. Yes, we will wait for installing the npm package. Is there music still or no? Oh, yeah. Was I on mute? Okay. I don't know what happened. Thank you for letting me know. Perfect. I think it's when I switched my headphones or something earlier. That's fine. So we've been trying out the front end. We've been working with the back end. I think everything's working now. And if you go to the two URLs, github.com/way/ we just go to github.com/way repositories. You should see both of them. I'll rename this GHW trivia backend so that we can differentiate between them. Backend, like that. Rename. Perfect. So now we have a GHW backend and a GHW frontend, trivia frontend that we can play with. So with that, you will be able to connect them. This is the backend, has all the instructions you need, and also the front end application, which is right here. And you can also see it working here. And yeah, back DNS, trivia, localhost 8000. I'll just show it working one more time. I hope it works. I'll just show it working one last time so that at least you get to see it working end to end as part of the stream before we go. GHW trivia. So this one has a different command, right, to run. It's in the README right here. Okay, perfect. So you can see John Doe, 2 points. What's the capital of France? Paris. Submit. Yeah, and you can see the graffiti as well, confetti as well, I meant. Here, where's my other window? Okay, there it is. You can also see the confetti, correct. And as an admin, I can put in my API key. I think, what is my API key here? Did I even put one? Is it just this one? I think so. So I can end session. I can start a new session directly from here if I wanted to. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think so. Thank you for your comment there. We kind of accomplished everything we wanted to accomplish today. Let's just do a very quick recap here. So in our first session today, we learned about API, OpenAPI specifications, and examples of OpenAPI-compatible API. We learned about how to use OpenAPI using the /docs, /redoc, and the Bruno to import OpenAPI JSON specifications to play with it. We also made our own APIs compatible and generated beautiful OpenAPI documentation. And in our second session, we continued to build on a trivia app we started in the first session, specifically the Fast API to build it along with the OpenAPI specifications that come out of the box, which was really, really nice. We learned how to use SpecKit to build our app. We also tried out the OpenAPI MCP server that exposed the different API calls to the AI and had the AI actually answer the trivia questions for us successfully, which was pretty cool. So that's number 4, kind of. We can definitely automate that process further if needed. But yeah, we also spun up a virtual private server on DigitalOcean to host our app and set up a domain name .dns so that we can all access it directly. And that was our key takeaways. We learned so much over the last 4 hours or so. If you have any questions, please drop them in chat. But otherwise, we'd love to hear your feedback. What did you like about the session? What are some of the key things you learned? Maybe you can also drop them in chat. Like, what did you learn? What was your main takeaway? I talked to you about some of my takeaways. Let me know what you learned. We have a couple minutes left. So while you are doing that, I'm going to head over to the Global Hack Week website and tell you that the next fun mini event is Tetris mini event, and that is with Gwen in 3 minutes. I also want to give away the surprise prize, right? So I'm going to actually make a slide prize box. Surprise prize winner. It will have to be Little Sulfur because you won the leaderboard, right? So if you don't mind, please take a screenshot of this and open a ticket on Discord. We would love to send you a surprise prize in the mail. Thank you for trying out our APIs, coming to our OpenAPI session, and learning at Global Hack Week. With that, if anyone has any questions, please hit me up after on Discord. And we will see you at the Tetris mini event. Definitely join. Gwen is very fun, and Tetris is one of my favorite events. So with that, have a good rest of your day, everybody. Peace.